Hi, this is a very short video on OIDC and how it works. But before that, we need to know why OIDC is needed. Uh, actually, the video title is How GitHub Deploys to AWS with Zero Access Keys. But I think OIDC works in different kind of uh, providers and infrastructures. So uh, in this example, uh, we are trying to deploy a project on AWS. To deploy this on a AWS account, we must need a credentials of that account, which will be a access key or secret key ID. And we have to store them in GitHub secrets to build a CI/CD pipeline. But this is not recommended to put your essential secrets uh, on a third party, because anyone can have that and access your AWS account and could do any kind of malicious activities. So what can I do instead of that? We can have a temporary credentials and deploy that project, and after that the credentials might got be expired, and at that moment actually OIDC comes in. OIDC refers OpenID Connect, which works on the top of OAuth 2 architecture. Let's see how it works. At first, when we push our code uh, in GitHub, the GitHub Actions got triggered and it requests a token to GitHub OIDC, or we can say the token issuer. Then it uh, provides a signed JWT token we signed by GitHub's private key, and with the token, the action goes to the AWS STS. And what is STS? STS is AWS Secret Token Service, and it verifies the token which has initially given by the GitHub OIDC provider. Uh, how it verifies? Through the public key of GitHub OIDC providers, and after the verification it got a temporary credentials, and the actions use the temporary credentials and deploy the project to the AWS, or it can access uh, the AWS accounts only specific uh, resources which has written on the IAM role, because on the IAM role we can see there is two kind of policy. One is trust policy, another one is permission policy. uh, So what is actually trust policy and permission policies? Trust policy is who we are making eligible to perform a specific task, and permission policy says what are the tasks it can perform. For assume, the actions can perform a specific task on S3 which has mentioned on the permission list, and who can do that? It has mentioned it on the trusted policies, the specific account repository and the branches. Now, let's see what actually stays in the JWT. It says who is the issuer of the token and what is the token has been issued for. The in this scenario, the issuer is the GitHub OIDC provider, and it has issued for the AWS STS on respect to that specific GitHub repositories branches. So that's how the token got validated, and we can get a temporary credentials. And with that temporary credentials, without storing that permanently anywhere, which has a very scoped thing of tasks it can perform, and which is obviously very short-lived. Uh, and we can say this is more secured way to deploy a project on AWS. So that's how a OIDC works in GitHub workflows to deploy a project on AWS. Thank you.